name is Yoshi Domoto. I am the Executive Director of the Japan America Society at Georgia, and I'm so thrilled to have so many of you with us today, and hope that everyone received the recipes and ingredients. You can certainly try to make these dishes as we go along today with our class and demo today, and then, or you can try this afterwards too. We'll be recording and we'll be sending out the video for you to review and watch as well. So, but without further ado, we would like to get started. Just a few notes before we get started is that once we get started, we'll have a quick overview about Nakato Japanese Restaurant and asking Ms. Sachio, the owner and manager of the restaurant, to talk about the restaurant a little bit, things that are going on, and then we'll go right into the cooking class and demo. Those of you who have questions, if you can hold off on asking the questions until the very end. But for those of you trying to make the dishes, make the Chawanmushi and the Temari Sushi while you watch along live, if you can raise your hand, I will unmute you and you can ask your question to Chef Ikumi, who will be our guest presenter today. So, but without further ado, let's give a round of a virtual applause to our host and hostess today, Ms. Sachio Takahara.
Hi everybody. Konnichiwa. I hope everybody is staying healthy and well. Just for this demo, I'm going to take off my mask, but I hope everybody is doing well and social distancing. Today here we are going to be featuring Nakato's Temari sushi as well as our Japanese comfort food Chawanmushi. So my restaurant, Nakato Japanese Restaurant, has been in the family for over 48 years. I'm the third generation. My grandmother started it back in 1972 in Atlanta, and we have locations in South Carolina as well as North Carolina and Springfield, Missouri. So if you have a chance, please come by and join us once we are open. We are currently only doing curbside pickup and delivery through third parties as well as through our website, nakatorestaurant.com. And we are doing that every day from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. So hopefully you can enjoy the Nakato sushi as well as teppanyaki and washoku dining at home safely. We are planning on opening back up for the general public at a 50% scale, starting probably at the middle, early to middle July. So after July 4th, you should be, we'll keep you posted through social media as well as the Japan America Society website. So hopefully you get to join us that way as well once you feel safe to come out and join. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Chef Ikumi. Today, we are going to be doing a feature of a Temari sushi, which is known in Japan, literally translated to hacky sack, or let's see, Temari, it's te is hand, and mari is ball. So as you can see from the shape, the beautiful colors and arrangement represents the Temari in Japan. Also, we are doing simple chawanmushi, which is a Japanese savory custard dish, which is very home cooking, and it's a comfort food in Japan. So a lot of the kids and families enjoy that and find comfort in it. So hopefully during this COVID crisis, you get to make some at home and enjoy it as well. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Chef Ikumi.
Okay.
Yes.
So are we going to start making the foods already?
Yes, we can start with, let's start with the sushi rice.
All right, so one of the most important things in sushi is the rice. We have our own special mix for the vinegar when we vinegar the rice. However, you can go to the farmer's market and buy your sushi vinegar that's already pre-mixed for you.
The sushi vinegar. Right here, you can purchase a pre-mixed sushi vinegar if you like, and I think that would be the easiest way to go about making the sushi rice at home if you're not comfortable making it from scratch.
Three main ingredients: vinegar, salt, and sugar. And the ratio depends on the chef in every restaurant in the world. it's all different. So let me get started. First, we have our Japanese short grain rice. Definitely recommend like a high quality short grain rice. Just gonna throw it in here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix the vinegar. And when I do this, I try to spread the vinegar around. And also, in Japanese, we call this shari wo kiru. Kiru means to cut. So we're not gonna kind of like mix it around like this. What we do is we kind of slice the rice to spread the vinegar through and mix it around like that.
The reason being it is to keep the rice kernels from staying whole. And while the steamed rice has the vapors, I am fanning it so it sort of dilutes the vinegar as it spreads through the rice.
Yeah, and you'll see these chunks of rice or clumps of rice, and you try to separate all that together too.
And chef, and the ingredients, and then the recipe is said 3 cups of rice. How many cups of rice are you working with right now?
Right now it's about 2.5, 3.
About 2.5, maybe 2 cups.
Okay. And then you said the ratio for the rice vinegar. Of course, we recommend Marikan, one of our members, and then they actually have their facilities here in Griffin, Georgia, too. But what kind of ratio do you like to use as our guest chef today?
Let's see. What I've done is about 1,200 milliliters of vinegar, and then I think like a third of that is sugar, so about 400 milliliters sugar and like 100 to 50 milliliters of salt. I use the same container, but that's my personal. That's also not Nakato's recipe. That's a secret, so I cannot share that one. But so I have actually, you know what? Before I do that, spread it out so the rice cools down, and this way it will stick together easier later when we do the temari sushi. Okay. So let me just, while this is cooling down, I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that we're going to be using. We have here some kanikama, imitation crab stick, avocado. I'm going to skip over this turnip here, red radish. We have ebi, shrimp, and smoked salmon. So all of these ingredients you should be able to buy at your farmer's market. And we're going to be doing some toppings as well. This is a boiled quail egg, a cherry tomato, some salmon caviar, ikura. This is just a little ball of cream cheese, snow pea, some mayonnaise, and we'll also be using ham and carrot. And these we have prepared with little cute cookie cutters. So it's fun to use for, I guess, children. If you look over here, like as we showed before, you can make all kinds of fun shapes and artwork.
And chef, where can people purchase the shapes to get the artwork and make all the cute the temari, I guess, shapes of, especially for the kids and adults?
Sachi, this is actually Sachi's personal collection. Do you know where you can find these little cookie cutter shapes?
The cookie cutter shapes, actually, I ordered it online through Amazon, actually. So there's some variety of cookie cutters in different shapes and sizes. And also, in Japan, it's very popular to have karaben, which is character bentos. And those come in handy, not just for making temari sushi, but making lunch for anyone who likes to get a little bit more creative. So those have been handy for me.
Great, thank you, Ms. Sachi. And I don't know if people remember, a few years ago for Japan Fest, we had a vendor come out from California called Bento USA, and they do a lot of these, the kara bento, and you can purchase things from them too. But of course, Amazon, you can buy anything from there these days. So go ahead, continue, chef.
All right, so I'll start making some Temari sushi, and
We cut the pre-cut saran wrap into maybe small squares.
yeah, if you
And
can
then-
kind of see the size.
You start with a ping pong size rice ball, along with the topping of your choice if you want to lay it down first.
So we have the ball. It's going to be about a ping pong size ball. Our topping, we're going to start off with the smoked salmon. And here's the ball. And it's so simple. All you got to do is just wrap it up and twist it around. And for the base, that's pretty much it. So I'll do a few of these. Do shrimp.
So chef, for the
Twist it.
So chefs just basically just get just a small amount of rice and put it in the saran wrap and have the fish or the shrimp and make it into a ball and twist it. Is it really as easy as that, or is it a special technique that that we're not seeing?
I don't know. It's really easy for children to do as well, and it's basically the saran wrap helps shape the ball as you twist it. So it's a very simple and easy process to make the sushi rice a little bit tighter so it doesn't fall apart. And this dish actually originated in Kyoto for the geisha performers to be able to eat without having to ruin their makeup. So it wants to be a smaller bite size, rounder shape, so it's easier to handle as well as eat.
One of the ingredients I'm going to be using is avocado, which I like to slice thin. And just lay it down like this.
Now, is using avocado in sushi is that a traditionally Japanese thing, or is it more kind of a modern phenomenon?
It's a modern twist, definitely.
Yeah,
And we picked out a lot of the ingredients so it's easier to source for everybody and try at home from the grocery store that's nearby. And some of the summer vegetables, you can even put okra on it as well and change it within the season. And the seasonality that is displayed in Japanese cooking is very traditional. So you can enjoy summer ingredients as well for your temari sushi.
In Sachi, is this a regular cucumber or is this a Japanese cucumber? Because I know there's a big difference between American cucumber and Japanese.
It's a Persian cucumber, and the Japanese cucumbers tend to be a little bit thinner and more spikier. But I found the cucumbers at the Buford Highway Farmers Market, and so we thought it would be the best place for a one-stop shop for anyone who wanted to gather all the ingredients. They have also sushi grade tuna and shrimp and masago caviar as well as salmon caviar. So there's an array of selection out there as well as a Japanese food section that you can enjoy and gather the ingredients.
That's right. I think you mentioned aisle 24 will be our best friend when you go there, right? So pretty
Right, correct.
So go straight to aisle 24.
And there you can find the sushi vinegar, the mirin, And also, we're gonna show you how to make a simple dashi, which is the base of Japanese cuisine, in a little bit when we were making the chawanmushi. So I'll introduce you to some more ingredients.
All right. So I think I'm gonna open these up and go into the toppings. So, couple things you can do to open them up. You can just cut them, or you can unravel it, whichever way you like. Sometimes I like it this way.
Does it matter how long it's in the saran wrap, or?
Oh, it doesn't matter how long it's in there, but for the preparation purposes, it stays moist when you keep it wrapped, and then you want to do all of it, and then open them up all at the same time.
These are great for hors d'oeuvres for a house party. And so when you're making a lot of it, by having the balls just prepped and ready, it stays fresh in the saran wrap. And when you're ready to plate, you can start cutting them open and displaying it that way.
And Sachi, is it ready to eat after you unravel it, or do you have to wait?
Yes. Well, you can start topping it with your topping of choice. And Chef Ikumi is going to be doing that right now. And you can get really creative with it. I've seen people put umeboshi on top of the cucumber sometimes. Umeboshi is a pickled plum, and it has like a distinct sourness because it's been pickled for so long. But it's really great with cucumber and very refreshing during the summer. My kids love it at home with just cucumber slices and umeboshi mixed in together.
Such an amazing array of colors too.
Yes, and that's another trait of Japanese cooking. They try to get very colorful and seasonal, and so you can enjoy a lot of the colors and textures. And especially for Temari sushi, it's supposed to represent a hacky sack, so more color there is, the better.
So the first one I'm gonna do is the smoked salmon right here. I'm gonna cut a very thin slice of lemon, and like that, and lay it on top. And we also, I think, like to enjoy some cream cheese with our smoked salmon. We'll put it on top like that. Next, we have our shrimp. So I think I'm gonna put some caviar on there. So this is salmon caviar, also known as ikura. And we could throw a couple on there like that. Here we have ham. Okay. Oh, forgot one thing. So this is an English cucumber. And another thing we can do with the shrimp I thought of is getting a regular peeler like this. Just peel it away, and you're gonna get something like this. And you can easily, simply just wrap it around, like so. And it's another decorative form. Maybe a longer one. Okay. Okay.
Then for the ham, what are you gonna go
So as Sachi told me, it's called a cob.
Cob mix with the
cob mix.
ham and egg.
So this is a little quail egg, and I'm just gonna slice up a little piece as such and throw it on top. And so this is our ham and egg.
Just like breakfast.
Oh yeah, definitely breakfast. I love breakfast foods. So for the avocado, I'm gonna put more ham actually, and
Or you can do a seafood mix.
or a
too.
seafood mix. Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna show you a seafood mix. So I have here the imitation crab, and I'm just gonna cut up really small, like such, and I'm gonna throw it in this little bowl right here.
Let's mix it.
I'm gonna use some of the shrimp that I had already. Small pieces again. Here's another small piece of the smoked salmon that I'll use. And boom. Throw a little mayo in there. Mix it around. And I have a very quick, simple seafood mix.
So, Chef and Miss Sashi, is that the famous Kewpie mayonnaise, the Japanese mayonnaise, or do you?
Yes. Yes. It's definitely different texture and flavor compared to Hellman's.
Yes, the Japanese mayo uses more egg yolk in it, so it's going to have a more yellow color as well. It's not going to be as white as the Hellman's or other American mayonnaise. And definitely one of our favorites. Okay. And let me throw another topping on there. A little tomato. This is cherry tomato. And then for the cucumber, let's see, I could add another cherry. Okay, you know what? Let's throw the cherry tomato from here onto the cucumber and make it a little more. And then I have a small piece of ham. Put it right there. And there you have it. This is some Temari sushi samples that you can do at home.
That looks amazing. So Chef and Miss Sachi, we had an interesting question come in.
Okay.
I know you can use a lot of different types of toppings, but are there ingredients that are generally avoided that you shouldn't use?
That is a good question.
Anything that's pliable when it's cut thin would be the best. So it sort of molds to the spherical shape. Like even cucumber, if you cut it too thick, it wouldn't sort of form to the sphere. So anything that's a little bit softer in texture, like avocado, thinly sliced cucumber would be the best bet. You can get really creative. And as you can see, some of the carrots, it sort of lifts off of the temari. So more of the softer vegetables might be the best. But if you wanted to add a little bit of color, you can definitely add as a topping.
It looks,
right.
But it looks too cute to eat too at the same time.
All right, next we're gonna move into the chawanmushi.
Yep.
First, I wanted to go over the dashi, the culture of dashi in Japanese cooking. I'm not sure if everybody is aware of the 5 senses of taste. One is sweet, second one is salty, third one is sour, fourth one is bitter, and for Japanese cooking, the most important one is the umami factor. And umami is found in the savory flavor profile. And in Japanese cooking, especially since it's an island country, we use fish, dried fish bonito flakes, like here. It's also called hanakatsuo. And another product of the sea, the kelp. And then something from the mountains, which is shiitake. So it's a very beautiful harmony of land and sea all together. And these are very high in the monosodium glutamate, which is known as the MSG. And for the profiling, a lot of other vegetables such as tomatoes and mushrooms, they have a high consistency in the umami factor, as well as cheese. And then in the European countries, they pull it from bone broth or meats. But in Japan, the dashi stock is pulled from the katsuobushi and kombu and shiitake mushrooms. And kombu is the most popular in Japan. And as you can see, it's very brittle and dry, and you see all the crystallization of the umami. And so for prepping the dashi, we're gonna turn it over to Chef Ikumi.
All right. Prepping dashi is actually very, very simple. Easier than you think. It's stock. So you take your boiling water and you can throw either one of these ingredients, a combination, all of it. Very easy to do, throw these guys in there. But for the katsuobushi, the bonito flakes, you might want to wrap it in like a cheesecloth and then tie it up and then throw it in so that it doesn't go all over the place.
So one of the main process is to get as much umami out of the bonito, the dried kelp, the kombu, as much as possible. A lot of people just leave it in water overnight and then use it for the morning miso soup. So you can just have it infused in water for over an hour. And if you wanted to do it a little bit quicker, you boil this kelp in probably 3 cups of water, and you slowly bring it up to a boil. And right before the boiling, you pull the kelp out. Because if you leave it in there too long, it'll become bitter, or the water may get a little bit slimy. And then once the kelp and water mixture is done, you add the bonito shavings inside. So it'll pull the umami flavor out of there at a low temperature. And then dashi, you'll get a clear broth like this.
And Sachi, for the ratios, does it, I guess, in terms of if you want a thicker stock, I guess you'll have more ingredients. And then if you want to have a more lighter, I guess you'll have more water. Is that right?
Yes, and you can't go wrong with more umami dashi that's pulled. And actually each restaurant and each household has its secret, formula that they enjoy. So we actually, in the ingredients list for the dashi stock, we broke it down to 2 cups of water and a 2-inch slice like this for kobu. And then you'll get half a cup of the hanagatsuo. And you can make it that way. But each restaurant might have a different formula. Every household has a different formula. So you have to play around with it as well.
Yeah, even in Japan, some people use the edamame they boil, and they use that as their dashi as well. But these are the main 3 that we use in Japan and most restaurants. So I guess we'll start doing the mixture for the chawanmushi. Chawanmushi is like an egg custard, very soft and smooth. And
let me show you. This is very silky.
Yeah, it's softer than
and
Jello.
Soft, yes.
Softer than flan.
And a lot of mothers and parents actually start feeding the kids chawanmushi because it's very soft as baby food. And it has a lot of ingredients that you can add and subtract as you go.
Very nutritious. So to make this egg mixture, what we have with the ingredients that you have already, we have eggs. This is usukuchi soy sauce, light soy sauce, but please don't be confused with less sodium soy sauce. This has pretty much the same amount of sodium. It's the lighter color, so that when we make our chawanmushi like this, it doesn't turn very dark. It's still very light, pleasant color. Next, we have here meeting. Meeting is a sweet sake. So sake includes alcohol. So meeting is sweeter version. And this we use a lot to replace like sugar use. And we have some salt right here. So we're gonna add a pinch of salt to our ingredients. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna beat our eggs. And one thing that I'm gonna keep repeating myself later on probably is that we don't want any air bubbles. And I'm gonna bring why later. But when we beat our eggs, just do it very softly. You don't have to go crazy, so you don't try to create as you try to have as little air bubbles as possible. And once it's been sort of beaten, then we can start adding all the other ingredients. This is the dashi. So we have 280 grams of dashi. And again, I'm going to mix it a little bit. Then I'll add my soy sauce. There's about 14 grams of soy sauce. Have our mirin here.
So does that gently avoid the air bubbles that you were just talking about, Chef?
Yes, you're gonna still see some air bubbles right now, but there's another trick up that we have that gets rid of more air bubbles, and we have, I think, 2 more tricks that gets rid of air bubbles. So, one of the tricks here is we have a sieve, and we're just gonna pass it through, and this gets rid of most of the air bubbles. Thank you. And that gets rid of more air bubbles. And my next trick, I'm just gonna pass it onto this little pitcher right here. I think this will help pour out into the smaller portions.
I forgot to ask, but for the eggs, does it matter if it's white eggs, brown eggs, small, medium, large?
It doesn't matter. And to tell you the truth, white eggs and brown eggs don't really make too much of a difference in any cooking, I believe. Okay, so my next trick to have less air bubbles again is I'm going to use a spoon.
Let's put the ingredients in first, or later.
You know what? You're right. We'll put some ingredients in first. Okay. Here I will cut some shrimp.
And this is the inside ingredients that are gonna go into the bowls. You can do it slower, Chef. You can.
And that's just regular raw shrimp, right?
This is just regular raw shrimp.
And you can actually add chicken into it as well. Smaller cuts of chicken. Today we're using some of the ingredients that we have at the restaurant. But again, you can add some of the savory and edamame vegetables, cooked shrimp, you can add as well.
Sachi, if we go with chicken, is it better to do chicken thighs, breasts?
I like chicken thighs because it's just more tender, but it's really up preference to the chef.
And just like with the shrimp, you can just put in raw chicken and
Yes.
cook itself? Okay.
It's gonna get cooked in the steamer.
Okay.
And then shiitake mushroom.
And we have our, this is the same shiitake mushrooms, but this one's already been simmered.
And you can do raw shiitake mushrooms as well. Or enoki mushrooms. You can get really creative with it.
Okay. All right, so our next step is to add the egg mixture in it.
And chef, sorry to bother you, but we had a question come in. Someone's making a chawanmushi at home, together with you. But how
Okay.
much soy sauce did you use in the to mix in with the eggs and the meeting and the dashi? How many? How much soy sauce?
How much soy sauce? It was 14 grams.
14 grams. Okay. And then is it okay if the mixture turns a little brown, or should it be more on the yellow side?
It's going to turn a little brown. As I'm going to put it in right here, you'll see the color of the egg mixture. And I'm going to use a spoon, so it's a very smooth pour inside. So this is another one of those tricks for getting rid of the air bubbles.
And for dishes, you can do a small bowl like this, but you want to have a thicker wall if possible. So this one is a traditional chawanmushi with a lid. It's a ceramic dish with a lid. And then if you don't have any with the thicker walls, a mug cup would do really well.
Guess that's the extra large version, right?
Right.
Yes.
So it looks like the ingredients going maybe quarter of the way into the bowl or the mug.
Yes,
And then the actual mixture goes in, I think 3/4 of the way. Is that right?
correct. So quarter or 1/3 of the way, depending on what kind of ingredients you want to incorporate. I know my kids like to have a lot of the fish cake in it, so I add a lot of those. And it becomes a treasure hunt.
So I guess you can literally make it however your kids or your family like it the best, and kind of make it your
Correct.
own.
Yeah. So my pours are pretty good. If you see any air bubbles, the last trick is just slide them up the wall and break them up.
Or you can get a toothpick and sort of pop them as well, or scoop them out. And this is one of the detail work of Japanese cuisine, to get a really almost clear glaze on top of the chawanmushi when you're done with it. And you see the detail and craftsmanship that goes into it as well.
All right, so next step we want to do is cover them up. The Japanese dish comes with covers usually, but if you don't have that, you can just cover it up with foil. And this is one of the things is so it prevents the water from dripping inside when you open up the lid of the steamer. And we're going to throw these in the steamer now. Yeah, the water drips. We don't want any of that going into a dish. And remember, steam is very, very hot, so please be careful. And we're gonna have this on high boil for 2 minutes.
So is the water in the steamer, is that just kind of regular room temperature water? It hasn't been boiled or anything like that yet?
Oh, this is already on high boil. We had it prepared already. So we're gonna boil it on high heat for 2 minutes, and then once the 2 minutes is over, we're gonna turn down the flame a little and medium high, or medium low, medium high for another 10 minutes.
So 2 minutes
while
on
you're
high
prepping
and 10
eggs-
minutes on medium.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Sorry about this. Yeah, just making sure 2 minutes on high and then 10 minutes on medium.
Correct.
And by doing that, you can turn the steamer on while you're prepping all the egg and mixture of the chawanmushi. And by the time you're done with it, the boiling water would be ready to go.
Now, if you do not have a steamer at home, is there any alternatives to the steamer is there? Can you just put it in?
Yes, just a regular pot would work as well. Let me find one.
One thing you don't want though is for your dishes to be contacting the bottom of the pot.
This kind of pot would do as well.
And just boil the water, and then, but chef just mentioned that you want to avoid having the mugs or the containers of the chawanmushi, I guess, touch the bottom of the pot. Is that right?
You can put a plate in it inside the pot and then bring it up to, you can flip it upside down. Let me see if I have a plate for you. That would fit.
All right, so 2 minutes is up, and I'm going to turn the heat down to about a medium. And I'm going to add 10 minutes to this. So we're going to have some time burn for 10 minutes.
So you can put a flat plate into the pan and bring the water to the lip of the plate, and you can put your chawanmushi on here as well. It might take a little bit longer depending on how big the pot is, but the bigger surface plate you have, the better you would be. And you can make sure that, for the rice cooking, for the sushi rice, if you do it on top of a stove top, make sure it's a clear lid so you can see the rice soaking up all the water. And then for chawanmushi, I recommend a clear top as well so you can sort of keep an eye on it. And while it's boiling, we have some time if you'd like to ask a few questions to Chef Ikumi or me.
So Chef, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I think you are Mr. Nakato, but yeah, how did you become a chef? Tell us kind of your story. I'm sure he can probably talk for hours and hours, but maybe give us the short version.
All right, I'm going to take my mask off for this one. Little embarrassed, I guess, but I'm from New York. I became a sushi chef about 14 years ago, I guess now. But I'm still pretty young, you know, at 34 years old. I think I'm still young, but already 14 years of experience on there. I actually grew up not wanting to be a chef, but I wanted to learn how to make foods that I love to eat. And the sushi was just one of those. So I was really fascinated by the art of sushi. I think art runs in my family. My mother's kind of an artist, so just preparing foods like this it's really fun. It's not a job for me. It's just having a good time and doing work and getting paid at the same time. So yeah, I think the sushi career was a good choice for me. And I think I met Sachi about 10 years ago. My mother lived down in Atlanta while I lived in New York, and my mother started working here, so that's how I met Sachi. And then ever since then, every year, Sachi would call me, "Can you please move down to Atlanta? Can you please move down to Atlanta?" And last year, finally, I gave in, and I said, "Yes, I'll move down to Atlanta, and I'll be here 1 year by the end of July." So I haven't even been here for a year yet, but it feels like I've been here forever.
And we're so happy and blessed to have him. He's been a great addition and been able to, do these cooking classes, and we've been to a lot of events, and it's been a good run. So we appreciate his hard work.
I hope my accent didn't give away that I'm from New York. Sachi always makes fun of me for that.
Well, I knew Nakato was a family restaurant, but this is, I guess, it defies the meaning of it. It runs deep.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely other families that's worked here. I think I can say that there's been families that's been created because of here.
Right.
Right. It's just a really loving place. It's home to a lot of people. So I'm very thankful for being here.
Thank you, Chef. And then Chef and Ms. Sachi, question from the audience. Can the chawanmushi be cooked in an Instapot or maybe crock pot?
I think it would be better to have a stovetop and do it traditional and not to get too technological. I know there's microwave versions that's very quick and efficient, but steaming it is the best way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can say you can use a gas stove or an electric stove, but yeah.
I wouldn't venture out of that to go into any more technology because it's a very simple dish. So, and it only takes 10, 12 minutes. So I wouldn't rush that process.
Great, thank you. And then here's another question. So at your restaurant, Sachi-san, so what's popular among non-Japanese customers? And then also what's popular among Japanese customers? I know you have two sides, the hibachi area, but then you also have the traditional dining room, even with a tatami room too. So
yes, so our restaurant is very versatile. It's like a one-stop shop for anything Japanese cuisine. We have the teppanyaki side where the chef comes out and cooks in front of you. It's really popular amongst bigger groups celebrating birthdays. Not so much right now, but hopefully we'll find a cure to get that going back again, and we'll start slowly reopening. But the hibachi area for the bigger crowds and celebrations for birthdays and anniversaries are very popular on that side. And we also have a pretty open sushi bar that would seat close to 20 people. And then a traditional dining overlooking the Japanese garden. And then we also have another section of the restaurant called the Tatami Rooms. It is very formal, and you actually take your shoes off and sit on tatami mats, just like in Japan. And we serve full course menus there. Chef Kazuya Takeda from Japan, we actually brought him over to keep our dishes very authentic and to be able to cater full course menus in the tatami rooms. So it's a variety and array that everybody can enjoy their celebrations at Nakato.
So Sachi-san, what is your favorite menu item, or maybe for your kids too?
Favorite menu item? I would have to say the sushi. My grandmother always liked the akami tuna, so I take over that, I guess, and I love the tuna selection that we have. It's again from lean red meat all the way to the otoro. You get to have an array in one fish, so I enjoy that profile and selection that we have.
And then Sachi, I know we'll talk about this a little bit after the Chawanmushi demo, but so for your current curbside pickup, do you have special menu items? I know with the current situation, I know a lot of restaurants have kind of changed their kind of style a little bit, but what's kind of different with your menu items?
Right. We call it the COVID hustle, but once everything started closing down and everybody trying to figure out what the safest way to do business, we decided to only do curbside pickup, and then actually we added lunch. So we're open from 11 to 9 now, and during our curbside time, we made Japanese rice bowls that have been really popular, donburi style, and it's very, very much simple and comfort food. But we also have the sushi menu, full sushi menu. We haven't narrowed down anything on that end. And then washoku, we had to sort of make it a little bit of a shorter version because some of the ingredients weren't coming in time for all of us to sort of shift to post-COVID. So we were working and narrowing down the menu a little bit and making it a leaner menu. But otherwise, we're going with full menu. We added some more donburi home style, family style meals as well. So everybody can do a one pickup and enjoy it at home with the family.
Well, we really appreciate it. I know maybe just a few weeks ago, We have some bento boxes ordered for some students from Japan, so we appreciate you helping us out with the students from Japan who was crazy.
Oh, no, we appreciate you guys because, you know, without everybody's support and community, we wouldn't be able to get through this crisis without you guys. So we really appreciate it. And once we're, you know, slowly opening up, please come and enjoy it. You know, all the local restaurants in the hospitality industry will really appreciate it and need your help and support. And not just only Nakato, but all the other restaurants and hospitality groups really need that push. So please continue to support us.
So I know you have bento boxes available, but when you reopen your famous chirashi sushi, would that be available as well?
Yes, it's been available this whole time. So please come in and enjoy it. We're actually keeping the sushi bar closed for the time being, but we have the washoku area spaced out, and we'll have some more videos coming up slowly as we introduce how we're implementing the new procedures and proper sanitation, and we'll feature that on our social media, so we'll keep you posted on that.
Great, thank you. And Chef, one more question before we look at the chawanmushi, but we had a question from the audience. Were you using a special type of knife to cut all the different types of ingredients, or is that a secret to your trade too?
This is called a yanagi. It's mainly used for cutting fish, slicing prepared fish. Not even cutting up like the whole fish, but already prepared fish, fillets. But I kind of just grew up using this knife for almost everything, which you shouldn't do. But that's just my own style. So I just like to use this for pretty much anything.
And it's much sharper, I guess, than you know, kind of a regular knife that I guess we will have at home. Is that right?
Yeah, regular kitchen knife is definitely one big difference is the blade edge right here. It's definitely longer, so you're going to get a sharper angle. So your cuts are going to be a lot smoother and easier.
So Japanese knife culture comes from the swordsmanship of the samurai warriors. So there's a long history behind Japanese knives and craftsmanship. So we should do another segment on that, your son.
Yes, let's keep it going. But I think I heard the timer for the chawanmushi maybe, or
Yes, it did. So let's see how we did. Again, you've got to be careful with the water from the lid.
And steam.
The steam. It's very hot. And I'm going to use a towel here to pick it up. It's very hot again. Right. We'll open these up one by one. Now, when you can see the broth, I don't know if you can see on this camera, but there's the broth that's floating above the egg custard. That's when you know that it is definitely cooked and finished. And the last one, the little one. All right.
is it possible to overcook the chawanmushi? I know you don't want to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely possible to overcook the chawanmushi. So another thing we can do after you put all your ingredients in is put the toppings back on there. And what I've done before is I've added yuzu peel and then covered it up again. It gives it a nice aroma. However, I don't have any yuzu available. So I'm going to demonstrate another thing with a lemon peel. And sometimes we like to use a grater. However, I didn't have a grater available on hand either.
So Chef, I think most of us know what yuzu is, but what's the difference between yuzu and lemon?
Well, yuzu is a completely different kind of citrus, as like you would see a lemon and a lime. Yuzu is like a little green color. It's about the size of a golf ball. It's a little more bitter, I think, and definitely would Consider using flavor over like a lemon peel, but if you don't have a grater, what I do is I peel the lemon skin and make sure there's no white part on it. The white part is actually bitter, and the yellow part itself is pretty sweet. So I'm just gonna make some slices like this. Make them a little smaller. And just like that. I'm gonna throw some in there. And normally I would cover them up again. Covering it up, it's gonna heat up the lemon peel, and it's gonna help the aroma go more like across the whole entire dish.
And it's traditionally served with a wooden spoon because metal actually conducts heat. And so because the chawanmushi dish is so hot, you don't want it, you don't want the spoon burning your lips. So that's some of the intricacies. And I'm gonna open that up. Looks great.
All right, I think we're gonna have to test this out to see how we did. Sachi, would you do the honors?
It's gonna be so hot. Grab the mug here. Shefikumi itadakimasu.
Hi, those all.
So, Chef and Sachi, when would you traditionally eat the chawanmushi? Is it beginning of the meal, middle of the meal, end of the meal?
A lot of guests tend to take it to order it at the beginning of the meal before the sushi course or sashimi course. I see a lot of the Japanese guests ordering towards the beginning of the meal, yes. But at the same time, it takes a little bit, so you just have to be patient.
Yeah, for like a restaurant pace, it takes a little longer.
Yes.
But at home, the 15 minutes is not that long.
Yep. So I hope you guys get to enjoy it at home, and please post it on our Facebook and let us know how it turned out. We'd love to see it.
All right, and then Chef and then Miss Sachi too. I've got a question coming in. I think both, well, especially Temari sushi is great for potluck. Do you have any recommendations for kind of, for vegan menu or kind of vegetarian friends? Could you do something with Temari sushi? I don't know what you can do with. I think egg is definitely a necessity in chawanmushi, but
Yes,
any kind of suggestions for potlucks for Temari sushi?
The Temari sushi, you can go, let's see, you can do radishes. Oh, we had a radish ready, but it's very colorful, so you can actually slice it very thin and use it that way. Also, the cucumber that we did, avocado. What else would be good? Even with the same ingredient, you can get very creative with the toppings, so it can get very colorful very easily. So I would just do a variation on that as well. I've seen okra done. Anything that you can cut really thin, you can definitely pull off as a vegan dish.
So beautiful. Chef, we have another question about your knife, actually. So I guess there's a tradition of sushi chefs sharpening their own knives.
Yeah.
Does that exist here in the U.S. at all? Do you sharpen your own knife, or does you have someone else do that for you?
Oh, we sharpen our own knives, and that's another skill in itself.
So there's another component in history behind that. A lot of Japanese chefs don't like their knives being handled by anyone else. The reason being, it comes from swordsmanship, and without the sword in your belt buckle, you can lose your life to that by lending someone your sword. And so that actually transpired into the cooking world too, where the knife is how they feed their family and support themselves, and it's a livelihood transfer from life to livelihood. And so people are very sensitive and don't let anyone else handle their knives or sharpening their knives, because there's a certain art and skill to it too, and multiple levels of what is it called, the stone,
Okay.
the knife, the
Different grits.
yes, grits of the not the sharpening stone. And even the way that you slide it over the stone, each person has a different way of sharpening. So your knife becomes accustomed to how you are taking care of your knife. So you don't want anyone else touching it.
Yeah, one thing is the shape down here, no two knives are ever going to be the same. So this is my shape, kind of. And this is like represents my soul into
Right.
a knife.
And so even adoption of swords are very, I think, let's say one person retires from the chef platform and they actually ask someone to adopt it for them, and it becomes a very just humbling experience from one person passing down that swordsmanship and talent and knives to someone else to take care of for the next generation. So it's very deep.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing. And so Chef, you're almost like a samurai too, right? So,
I like to watch movies, but, you know, I want to be able to just handle a knife with food ingredients and food ingredients only. So yeah, I think the way of the samurai kind of like you can use it in cooking as well. Definitely try to be very humble. Love the cooking. Just be so passionate about it.
all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll like to start our Q&A sessions right now. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your questions in the chat box. Our first question. So Sachi, can you tell us a little bit about, I know we've had to deal with a whole lot with the quarantine and shutting things down. And right now you're curbside, but can you tell us a little bit about your kind of opening and kind of reopening strategies with opening up your restaurant for kind of dine-in experience?
Yes, we've been taking it very slow and just limiting our curbside service and delivery for our food at the moment. In the meantime, we have been rearranging the dining room to have proper social distancing and 6 feet apart. We've actually been researching a lot on how COVID has been traveling and what the CDC recommends. And so we've actually done a lot of placement of partitions, sanitizing solutions, also temperature checking for all my staff before they enter into the restaurant to start their shift. And that's also going to carry over to the guests as well once they come in. I've just been amazed by how much we utilize our hands for everything and how we can cross-contaminate everything. So we've actually renovated some of the hardware to be touchless. So even in the kitchen, we have a pedal for the hand washing sink versus turning knobs. The guest bathroom, we're actually putting a lever in there so you can pull with your arm to open up the door versus touching a handle. Just a lot of little things that we decided to implement. And we've been very fortunate to have everybody to support us and tell us, you know, take it slow. And so we've been doing that as well.
Great. Well, we definitely thank you for keeping all your customers safe. I know some restaurants they couldn't wait until they open up. I think you're doing the right thing by taking it slowly and kind of making sure it is 100% safe before you do so.
Yes, and you know it's per restaurant that you know financially, emotionally, just I think a lot of it had to do with everybody's comfort level too. So we understand, but I actually live with my mother, who is older in age, and so during crisis mode, I wanted to be at the restaurant. So for that reason, just opening to the public too quickly just worried me in terms of my kids and my family, and bringing it back to the house. So that goes for each person working here, and we just wanted to make sure that we're putting in all the proper precautions in before we open up, and be comfortable utilizing gloves and changing gloves. And we were doing that before, but even more so with even handling dirty plates and things of that nature. So we're actually doing a training course next week for all my staff in at least 4 different languages, so everybody is clear and knows what to expect when we reopen.
Great, thank you so much. And then I've got some questions coming in from the audience. So we only have a few more minutes before our time is up, but I want to get as many questions as possible. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to put them down in the chat box. So I know you can get some sushi grade fish from various places by kind of going to the Beaufort Farmers Market or even Whole Foods or other places in town. But do you have any suggestions on online sources where people can order some fresh fish?
I haven't ventured into that arena, actually, because we have so many vendors that bring in fresh fish constantly. So I've actually never had the need to go out and source that. So I apologize. I'm not 100% aware on online sourcing of the fish.
I'm right there with you too. I think it's safer and maybe fresher if you get the fish directly from your vendor. Then you don't know where it's coming from online. So, but
right.
Yeah.
But I've heard fish being brought into New York where you can source it from New York to be shipped overnighted as well. So I can do a little bit more research and get back to you on that for sure.
Great, thank you. So we can definitely share that information out to everyone tuning in with us today, and then we'll also share the video with everyone. We'll have just for everyone kind of tuning in live. We'll have the raw footage available later this evening, so you can kind of rewatch this, and then for everyone else, we'll have the edited version sometime early next week too. So
thank you so much for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Great. Well, before we close for today, just wanted to remind everyone. So Ms. Sachi, for everyone tuning in today, I think we have a special offer for everyone tuning in. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So the ticket purchase that you made can go directly as a gift certificate for our restaurant. So please order curbside. The $15 value of your ticket purchase into the Zoom meeting would carry over as a gift certificate to Nakato Japanese Restaurant. So please come by and support us.
So we did send out an email to everyone who purchased a ticket for today's cooking class and demo. But you just go to nakatorestaurant.com and order, I believe on the Chow Now platform. But there is a $15 gift certificate code. It's basically Nakato Class 15, Nakato Class 15. I just typed it in the chat box as well, and we'll resend this email out with the code to everyone else. But it's good for this coming week, right, Sachi? So I think good starting this evening. So everyone who wants to maybe order some temari sushi or some other types of menu items from Nakato tonight, you can definitely do so. And up until through the end of next week, I believe. So definitely we encourage you to go to nakatorestaurant.com and use the code Nakato Class 1515.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Ms. Sachi. We really appreciate all your support and hosting today's program. It was wonderful. I wish I could eat everything that I'm seeing on the video right now. And then Chef Ikumi, 本当にどうもありがとうございました. Thank you very much.
ありました。Please stay safe and healthy, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Be safe. We'll see you next time.